Hey, Rohan.
Cool. Hello, everyone. This is a pretty euphoric moment. I've used this. I use this word rarely, and I don't even know if I've used it correctly. But it's pretty exciting. We have finally reached the last session of this series. Finally, our favorite dogs app, our capstone project app. I can't control my excitement. We have finally reached the end of the series, and it's a pretty good app that we have today. So if you haven't catched up our last two sessions, so we're currently not technically week 8, but basically week 7, the second session of the same week. It was back to back. So, so today we're going to learn on how to use Firebase, which is Google's flagship service. It's basically a suite of tools to help us developers. We're going to talk about that in detail. But if you have missed our previous two apps, you should check it out too. We created the favorite dogs app, the same one, but without live data. So we focused on recycler views, and then we did a weather app yesterday, which was pretty exciting using retrofit. So we downloaded data from the internet, and today is our last session using Firebase. We're going to create our favorite dogs app. A quick look on how our app would look. So you can add a dog. So you can add like the name, breed, age, and the image. So you can save the image as image URL. You can add some likes, some dislikes, and some notes. So in this example, you can see now, um, so you can close, and then once you click on save, what happens is you would note this new dog, Pat, is added to our list, and it's saved on our database. So the second image here, the second GIF, it shows how is it stored on the Firebase backend. So we're going to use a service of Firebase called Firebase's real-time database. So again, don't worry, we'll talk about this in detail, just a quick overview. And so we aren't going to store dog information on our phone. Everything is going to be from everything is going to be from the uh, the the backend on Firebase. Cool. So a little about Firebase. So Firebase, as we briefly mentioned, is a suite of tools to help us build mobile and web apps. So they have given like many tools, a few five which I use quite often. Well, actually four. The fifth one I don't use quite often, but the four really important ones is real-time database, cloud firestore, authentication, and hosting. The first two are basically to store data that will sync across all devices. The third one is hosting, which is, let's say if you have like a website that you want to host, instead of you starting your virtual machine and using like advanced concepts like Kubernetes and all those concepts, Firebase simplifies everything and just gives you a very simple and easy to use tool called hosting to host your website on the web. And then cloud functions, which is a way to write server side code or, without actually having a server. So it's like a serverless server, which is pretty exciting, but this is like more of web development. But what we are going to focus today is on real-time database, which is very simplified. So a simplified view of how to store data in a database. So if you have heard of languages such as SQL or SQL, as some people call it, SQL or any database query language that has tables. So similar to in SQL, you have tables, you have a schema, and that kind of you are hard coding how the our data would look like. And again, if you don't know what SQL is, no worries, we'll get into it. But basically, the only thing that we need to know for today is the real-time database. It simplifies how to store data in a database. So what we can do using the tool called real-time database. So you would hear this word quite often if you have, let's say, you are in college, you have taken this like database systems class. So this thing called CRUD operations. So it basically is a short form or abbreviation for create, read, update, and delete, which are the four main operations that you would usually do on a database. So create will create a record in our database. So in our case, we are creating a dog. Read will be, hey, I want to see all the list of dogs. So you are reading from the database. Update, let's say you accidentally typed the wrong age, the incorrect age. So now you want to update that record on the database. So you would use the update or update operation. And finally, let's say if you are like having a list of dogs in let's say a dog shelter and the dog is adopted, you want to remove it from the list, then you can delete the dog from that list of available dogs. So these are the four main operations. Now let's briefly look at the code that we are going to use to implement these operations. Now, one quick thing that you will notice is all of it is done just in one line, which is why all of us developers love Firebase so much. So although there are going to be more lines of code, the most important line of code that does the create or does any of these CRUD operations is basically just this much, just one line. So let's look at each thing in the code, each small component in the code. So everything is in blue. It basically refers to a path within the database. So I'll actually go a few slides back to show you what I mean by path. So if you notice here, actually instead of this, I'll actually show you the actual Firebase that we have. So this is the real one, the actual database that's there, which we're going to set up very soon. But basically everything is done in a hierarchical path structure. So this is our root. Then from root, you go one level down. This is your dogs path. So /dogs. Then you have / and then this ID, which stands for one dog here. So these are 5 dogs with unique IDs. So if you click on this, you notice you get the /dogs path. If you click on this, you get this path. So everything in this Firebase's real-time database happens with respect to paths. As you can see here, this is root. Root is like the parent, the highermost node. Then one step down is dogs. And within dogs, you have 5. And then one step below that, you get the actual dog. So let us, yeah. So ref child. So there is, a, oh yes. So authenticate. Oh, authentication is something which we're not going to cover in this session, but I'd be happy to walk you over, maybe after the session if you want. A brief introduction is authentication. So if you, the basic of authentication is like email and password, but Firebase, it even incorporates third-party services such as Facebook, which you would see like Facebook authentication, right? In some places like login using Facebook. And hey, why Facebook when I'm like, the developer student club is a Google thing. So hey, you can even sign in through Google. Yep, we are open to all technologies, but yeah, I should have mentioned Google first. So Google, you can sign in using Google, so the Gmail account, or using Facebook, or using GitHub. So you can implement email ID and password easily by yourself. But the reason why people use Firebase authentication rather than doing it by ourselves is we can easily integrate those third-party services. It's a pretty exciting topic, and maybe in one of the future workshops we'll do so. Stay tuned with what we have, and feel free to connect with me or ask me something if you want to do something after this. Cool. So everything that's in blue, it refers to the path in our database. So ref, it basically is a certain path in our database. So on that path, you can do certain operations. So for create, at that particular path, you want to set the value. So don't worry if it's not clear. We just like starting out, scratching the surface. So we'll get into the details and the complexities of it. Let's go step by step. So we usually have a path, right? Path. Then after path, we do dot, and then we write what operation we want to do on that path. And that's basically it. So path and then operation. For create, whatever path we have, dot set value. Set value, so it's like create, right? It's synonymous. We'll ignore read for now. Update. So we have a certain path, which is ref. Think of it as parent for now. So parent dot child. So to show you here in our Firebase. So let's head back to the home. So parent, sorry, think of ref as for now it's dogs. So dogs.child, this child, oops, dogs.child, oh, we were here, dogs.child.set value. So basically we're updating it for remove. All what we have to do is take the path and remove what was there, that path. So now there's one thing that we skipped a little bit is read. So read, there's one new thing that isn't really a path, but it's actually something called a snapshot, which a snapshot is the contents of a database at a particular time. So since this is a real-time database, so data could keep changing. So how a snapshot is like time continually goes on. You take your smartphone and you take a snapshot of the environment, or you take a snapshot of you, and then years from now you see that you've grown much more older or elder, right? And so the snapshot, it captures you like the surroundings. Let's say if you took a picture of a scenery, it captures the scenery at that particular amount of time. So that's what we do. We take a snapshot of the data and then we populate our UI. So don't worry if this didn't seem uh, intuitive. It actually is. I mean, I think with some practice, it'll be pretty easy. And I'm here to help you out. So feel free to ask questions. So let's move on to how do we set this up. So first thing is we create a project, then we download a certain file, a certain .json file. We paste this file. So what's better than actually talking than actually doing? Doing is always better than talking. So let's set it up. So first things first, head over to console.firebase.google.com or just firebase.google.com, and then so you can just type firebase.google.com and then click on go to console. So console is where you have uh, like this is for developers. So we create a specific project here in the console and then we work on that project. So currently actually I have a limit. So Firebase, they give a certain limit for everyone. So I've actually exceeded that limit, or not exceeded, but I've reached the maximum of my limit. I've reached the limit basically. That was redundant. I reached the maximum of the limit. Well, basically, I just reached the limit. So I can't create a new project. But for you, you can just type in, like, for now, I named it, I created a project called, is it advantage storing? Good question. So actually, Cloud Firestore. So today people are asking questions, which is very nice. So Cloud Firestore and real-time database, they actually store data in real time. So this is like people usually think that Cloud Firestore isn't real time. Well, actually, Cloud Firestore is a little advanced version of the real-time database. So real-time database and Cloud Firestore both are real-time. But since real-time database isn't that advanced, so we just refer to it as real-time database, like the most lightweight form of database. There's no additional feature. So we just call it, hey, it's a real-time database. But Cloud Firestore, apart from being real-time, it is also like a much more advanced way of storing data. So you can make much more complex queries and you can store data in a much more neat way. Now you'll be asking like, so why are we not learning this? Well, once we know the real-time database, transitioning to Cloud Firestore is relatively easy. And usually we start with this because it's much more easy to understand. You saw how easy the structure was here. It's like a hierarchical path. So you can see everything in just one go. Technically, what we would recommend is, at some point, we would graduate onto Cloud Firestore, which we will do, may not be in this series because the series is over, but at some other series, so someone will do it. So um, you can learn from there or, ask me to. But yeah, there's no advantage. Both do the same job, but Cloud Firestore is much more recommended because of how it stores the data. And both are real time. Yeah, good question. And thanks for asking the question. That's good when people are asking questions. Right. So now I named the project favorite dogs. So if you want, you can just type a project name here, favorite dogs, and just keep clicking continue. until you create the project. So you would see a screen of analytics, maybe. You might see a screen of analytics. Just click continue. And don't worry if I'm not showing it now, because I can't. But be feel free to ask questions, and it's just if you just clicking continue, you'd most probably like there won't be any errors. It's pretty straightforward. So um, I'll just introduce a little bit about. So once you create a project, you would see a page like this. So I won't do anything because it might take some time for you. So I'll just talk about what we're going to do uh, until it loads for you. So you might see two options here, or you might see an option called database. Just click on it. So if you see two options, click on real-time database. Now here you won't see this because this is what we created in the sample app, right? So let's say Jasmine, the third one, right? So we have modeled the data as such, which we're going to cover how we did it. But basically, you may not have this. So uh, if you reach this page, that's good. Till here, if you reach, I mean, even if you don't have these, that's what we expect. So once you reach here, you're successful. And now we can move on to actually writing our code. So we have almost set up our backend. And now we have to start writing our Android app. So our final repository, I mean, our capstone projects repository is again on GitHub. You can, the link might be on YouTube, may not be. If not, you can search it on GitHub with my name, Rohan-Gadgol. Yeah, so go on the home page and then Rohan-Gadgol. And then on users, click the one with my profile picture and click on repositories. And then click on the first one. Right, and then you'll see this is our repository, cool. Now click on code and copy this URL. So this is basically like a locator for our repository on the web. Now you can head over to Android Studio, File, New, Project from Version Control, and Git. So again, File, New, Project from Version Control, and Git. When you click on Git, paste the URL here, and you can click on Test, and it should basically give you connection successful, and store it in your favorite directory, in the directory of your choice. Now, I already cloned the project because yesterday, so if you tune in yesterday's session, we had a problem with cloning it. So I cloned it beforehand to in case we face the problem. So, but you won't face the problem. It was a problem. You can just click on clone, and then it'll ask you, do you want to open it in a new window or same window? Just click new window if you want, or same window, it doesn't matter. And you should get the project here. And then you can wait for you to get all the tick marks, or at least no crosses. Even if you get this gray icons, that's fine. Once you get this and your project is built, then again you've cleared this checkpoint also. Now, on the bottom right, so again I'll give it a few minutes. I'll talk about what we have here. So on the bottom right, we have two steps in our code. We have a step one, which basically is going to cover how do we read data from Firebase, and step two is how do we create, write, write, update, and delete. So remember in CRUD, so we're going to cover read in the first part, and then the remaining three in the second part. So I think now it must be done. So you can click on the bottom right on this Git, click on step one, start a code. So now it's under remote branches. So you want to download it onto your local system. So step one, start a code, and then check out as, and then click on OK. So the same name, click on OK. And now if you notice, that is downloaded on a local system. So you are currently in that starter code branch. So let me give you a quick overview of what the starter code contains. So again, if you come to that Java, so app, Java, package name, and then main activity, we have dog activity, and then add edit activity. Let me show you what all of these are. So the first one is activity underscore main, which is basically a list of dogs. So let me show the layout decorations. So now it shows this, but it's basically a list of dogs. One tip that if you want to see how it would look in the real app, which you can do it now, is right in the XML. So be sure to select the text part of the layout. So let me go a little slow. App res layout activity underscore main dot xml. Double click on it. So it should open the XML layout file. Then find the recycler view tag. Be sure you're in the text pane of this layout, not the design, not like this, but the text pane. And then under recycler view, before the self-closing tag here, type in tools and then the colon and type in here list item. And the autocomplete does the equal to and the quotation marks. Type in here item dog. So you get to see how the list will look. So next is what is this item dog? So that is just one item, the layout for just one item. So you can go over this layout. We have a linear layout, right? It's a linear arrangement horizontally. And then within this, we have a vertical linear arrangement. We have discussed like these kind of layouts. So this is done already for us. 3 points of interest are there in this layout. The image, the breed name, and the dog name, right? So in activity underscore main, we have recycler view, which we covered yesterday. Oh, sorry, I mean, which we covered the session before yesterday. And then we have this one thing called floating action button, which is at the bottom right, which is to create a new dog. So if you click on this button, you would get to this screen. And what is this screen? This screen is add edit activity. So I'll show you the layout file. So it's basically a number of these edit text, which is actually we use something fancy, which you can go like read over this and ask me questions if needed. It's the latest form of edit text that are there prescribed by material design, which we again covered. A quick review: material design is Google's guidelines for making a beautiful layout. So it helps you to, like, if the name is empty and if you click save, you see this, you get this red thing for free. We do not do this animation, so you notice now you get this. So and then the bleed it goes up. So that's why we're using this text input edit text and text input layout instead of a plain edit text. Cool. So you can go this at your time and ask me questions if needed. The last activity is activity underscore dog. So we went over the first one, the list of dogs. You click on this paw, this beautiful paw icon. It takes you to this activity, which you can add a new dog. And lastly, is if you click on a particular dog, it takes you to the details page, which is this page here. It basically has an image, dog name, dog breed name, age, likes, dislikes, and notes. So we have this here. You can go over the layout. Again, we just use the same views that we usually use. So you can check it out. And now in our Java file, so our main activity, dog activity, and add edit activity, it's the same thing. It just list of activities in the main. Dog activity stores the details. Add edit activity stores the code for this. Now we actually have to implement it. So now our job actually starts. So a quick side note, this project is currently set up with um, uh, let me show you with real-time database. So with the database that we have set up here, so it's not set up to your database, which we are going to do soon. So for now, let's just create the app with using this sample database, and then by the end, you can implement your database. So for now, let's head over to our code here. So find app Java package name and then main activity, and let's start doing our to-dos. Now, to save time, in case you just want to like have some fun, just sit back and just see what's going on. you can actually uncomment these lines of code so the code is already written for you, or else we can just write it down and I'll explain what each line of code means. So if you want to just uncomment it out, select it and then control / and it works. So you can uncomment the lines of code out. But I will write the code. So first things first, we want to create that path that I was mentioning, this reference. So it basically talks about, the path that this ref points to is root / dogs. So basically we want to create a reference that points to root / dogs. So we want to have a reference that points here. Let's see how do we do it. First things first, we create an instance of our database. The Firebase database, let's just call this database, is equal to this boilerplate code Firebase database.get instance. So we get an instance of our database. Next line is we create a reference in that database. So currently the database, this variable, it refers to this whole thing. Let us specifically point here. How do we do that? We create something called a database reference. Database, and be sure to ask questions. Today people seem excited. They asked 2 questions, which is yeah, people don't usually ask questions. So keep the questions rolling in. I'll be happy to answer those. Database reference is equal to now using the database instance that we have, database dot get reference would actually point to the parent here, but we want to come one step down. So you can either do dot get reference dot child dogs, or so to duplicate a line is Control D, a shortcut. We'll call this reference 1, or you can directly write it here itself, dogs. See your choice. So basically we want to go from root to this level, dogs level. So one shortcut, again, I'm just showing you some shortcuts. Control Y to delete a line, Control D to duplicate, Control Y to delete. So let me delete this. So I'm going to use this dot child notation instead of this. Anything is fine. Next, what we need to do is we need to listen for changes. Now this is important. So if you see in our screenshot here, our app listens to changes. So let's wait for this. So once we add a dog, it changes in real time here on our database. So okay, this seems okay. This is almost done. Yeah, when you click save, notice here you get this green thing here. So it's added. Now we want to listen to changes on our main database. So to add that listener, like every time a change is made on our database, like on Firebase. So again, the jargon seems a little confusing. Let's go slowly. Every time our data changes, we need to listen and update our UI. That's in layman's terms. So let's do that now. So using the reference that we have, so I call it reference, let's call it reference if you want. Reference dot set, add value event listener. So listener, we're listening for changes, like listening, like actual listening. Now, what happens when we observe a change, right? So then you can just type in new. So Control P, if you want to see what parameter is required, Control P, we need a value event listener. So new value event listener, and then Android Studio is smart enough to do the autocomplete. Click on enter, and it gives you these 2 overridden methods called on data change, put a semicolon here, on data change, and on cancel. So basically, whenever the data has changed, everything that's there within these, like within this method, will be run. So all that we need to do is write some code here. So let's see. So let me Control X. Let me paste it here. So these are the to-dos that we need to implement in on data change. So let's see. To do for create a list of dogs. So list of dogs. Now dog is a model that we have. But let me create this list and they said call it dogs. So new array list. Right? So we're creating an array list of dogs. Now dog, this dog, so control, hold control and click on it. Or if you want, head over to the package and then pojos, which is plain old Java objects. Yeah, dog. So it's just basically a model for all our fields like ID, name, breed, age. Remember all those fields that we have. So just a container for all those fields. So we create a list of that. Next, let's iterate through the snapshot that we have. So let's write the code first, and then I'll explain what each line of code does. Data snapshot, snapshot one. Let's call it S because snapshot is already used here. We want to iterate through this snapshot.getChildren, and within the loop, we want to do a couple of things. So this is a for each loop. So it iterates to the children, and each child is S. Now, um, let's write what we want to do here. So let's extract the dog. In each iteration, convert the S into a dog. So let's see how we do it. I'll explain each line of code, so don't worry. Get value, and inside this, pass in dog.class. Next, dogs.add. Oops, dogs.add, and add the dog that we just downloaded. And by the end of the method, on data change, as it's shown into 8, call update dogs. So on the adapter, so m dogs adapter. So this adapter is the same adapter that of the recycler view. So adapters, a quick refresher. We covered this the week before the session before last session. Adapter is the recycler view concept to store data. So our data dot update dogs because we have downloaded the new list of dogs. So dogs. Control P, it takes in a list of dogs here. So dogs, update dogs. Now let me explain each line of code. So currently we did reference dot add value change. Now where is our reference pointing to? It's pointing to root / dogs. So it's pointing to root / dogs. So anything under this dog's path, if there ever is a change, since we are listening to those changes, on data change will be called and the snapshot will be passed. What is snapshot? It's, as we mentioned the definition, it is the contents of that particular reference at a particular amount at a particular time. So all these contents will be saved in the snapshot. Now a data snapshot is a generic type that basically says like it is content agnostic. It doesn't really care about what data type it is or data type agnostic. Yes, can you use child members using parent-child notation like Firestore? Can child members, parent-child, can you use child? Can you use child using parent-child like on Firestore? Can you access? So I'm not really sure, what kind of like I'm not really clear about the question. So I'm assuming like you are comparing with Cloud Firestore, so you have some experience there. So I'm pretty sure like if you're asking like how are we accessing it, yes. So basically this line of code, it is equivalent to what we were doing in Cloud Firestore. So I actually haven't used Cloud Firestore in Android. I actually use it in Flutter. So I'm assuming the code must be the same. So yes, it's the same thing. So there you would access it using whatever lines of code. Here we're doing the same thing. So the snapshot, as whatever person asked, very good question though. You are paying attention. That's good. So the snapshot is equivalent to, I'll compare it to Flutter if you're familiar with that. The stream. So there the same snapshot is given in the stream. Um, it's the same thing. So this snapshot, it refers to all these children here. Now we are going through those children and we are taking one particular snapshot from it. So snapshot within snapshots. So from all of these, we're taking one of it. And for each one, we're converting it of types data.snap, of type data snapshot. We're converting it into type dog. Example.doc. Yes. So let me example. Okay, dog slash dog one slash dog one. Yes. So you must be asking something like doc dot. So basically the path of, in our case, it will be dogs slash this ID. So some particular dog ID here, dog ID. Now this dot, whatever is the code here. Yes, this will point to, let's say if you pass the ID of, like, imagine this whole thing is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to make it easier for understanding. So if I do dogs slash one, then we'll get the first dog. You're correct. We'll get the first dog. For two, we'll get the second dog. We'll actually use this in when we are using the second step, which is create, update, and delete. Because there we need to exactly point to certain dog. Here we're just pointing to the list of dogs. A reference is pointing here. In step 2, a reference will point one more step below and will point to the exact dog that we want to um, update or delete. So don't worry, this is good that you're paying attention. So thanks for the questions and keep them rolling in. I'm really happy that questions are coming in. So yes, it's the same thing. Good. So what we did was using dot get value. So this was the path. Remember in the slides we showed it. We have the path. So snapshot. In our case, it's s dot get value. Then what is this? This basically says convert the snapshot into the type dog dot class, which is basically our this model class that we have. It converts it. Then now once we have a dog, it's very easy now. We add it to a list of dogs. So after the for loop, we have populated a list of dogs. Then we update it in our adapter. The moment update dogs is called on our adapter, update dogs. This notify, yeah. So you can go in the index of it. Basically, the list here is updated. So yeah, that's the lines of code. And for on cancelled, um, let me quickly copy this. On cancelled, show a toast. So here what we'll do is capital T toast, choose the second option, and the text. Now something new that we're going to use is, I'll quickly introduce it. Under values, so app res values, and then go to strings.xml. So these are all the strings. Remember we covered strings.xml on why do we use it. So for localization, so for different languages. But anyway, so a new topic that we're going to introduce very quickly is something called plurals, which you can read about more on in the documentation. Quick introduction. It's basically like a string, but sometimes depending on how a number, the string could change, like error downloading dog and error downloading dogs, right? If it's 0 or anything else apart from 1, we have to say dogs. But if it's only 1, we have to say dog. So instead of doing, instead of creating a string or two strings, like one is download error dog and download error dogs, we just create one string, and within that we have two types. So we'll see what it means. Now here we'll actually simplify this. String toast string is equal to get resources dot get plural or get quantity string. Now for the ID, so r dot plurals dot download error dog. So it points to this one. Next, you have to say which of these string to use. So the second parameter says that so currently it's dogs, right? We're downloading the list of dogs. So just put something large number like 99 and You can put one more 99, which isn't needed, but you can just put it. This basically will be used within the string. Again, it's not needed in our example, so we'll leave it. Toast string. So if we reach an error, then Android will call this method, and we just show the user that, hey, there's a error downloading the dogs. So we did it now. We explained each line of code here. So for main activity, we downloaded all the dogs, right? So one thing that I wanted to show is, notice here in the on click method. So basically that talks about when we click a particular dog, we are not passing the complete dog. This dog is clicked. So we are not passing the complete dog to the new activity, right? Once we click on a certain page, we are only passing the ID to the dog activity, which is the details screen. Why we're doing that? That is so that um, if we pass the exact dog to the next screen here, let's say this changes. Let's say that on the back end, this Jasmine's the name is changed to, let's say, Pluto. So this won't be updated. But if you pass the only the ID, let me show an example very quickly. So I think we are going a little slow. So feel free to ask questions. You're asking questions today, so that's good. Let me show an example. Jasmine, where's Jasmine? The third one. So if in real time I change this to Pluto, notice the app. This also changes in real time. So that's why we want to make, apart from the main screen, you look at Pluto, it changed, right? In real time. So we want to only refer to each dog as the ID, so that in the next page we can download the dog in that particular ID. So yep, let's go back here and expand this. Keep your questions coming in, and I'll you can answer those. So all right, we have covered this. Next, so currently we made the first page real time. Now let us make, when you click on it, remember when we clicked on Jasmine, even when we changed the data here, when we were at this page, it still changed. So this page is hooked up to the real time, right? Where is it? Oops, I'm the wrong one here. So this was hooked up to the real time using reference.addValueListener. Every time a value changes, we listen for it. Then this method is called we change it. Now let us hook up the second page to real time. So same, everything is the same. Go to dog activity. We'll go a little quick because it's the same thing basically. Uh, First, we create a Firebase database. You can uncomment the lines out if you want to follow along. Firebase instance.get instance. So we create the database. We create the reference. So database reference. We'll call this ref for short. Using the database, we do .get reference. But we go one step down, child, dogs. Now, we go one more step down to dog ID, which is, we are extracting the dog ID that was passed here. Remember, when you click on it, it sends the dog ID to dog activity. Dog activity retrieves that ID that we sent, and now the reference doesn't point to dogs. Root, then dogs, then to the actual dog. So it points to root, dogs, and the actual dog, whichever it is, right? So that's something different in the thing here. Next, very quickly, let's hook it up to the real time. So add value listener, new value event listener. Let me copy the to-dos here very quickly. It's the same thing, so don't worry, and ask me questions if needed. Oops, not there. Here, introduce for on cancelled. Let me paste it here. I put a semicolon here. All right, good. 14, data snapshot. Yeah. So let us get the dog from the snapshot. So now this snapshot, since a reference points here, or like whichever dog it is, now this snapshot refers to all the fields below it. So we don't need to cycle through all the fields, I mean, through all the objects. You just need to do dog is equal to snapshot dot get value and pass in dog dot class. And now populate views, pass the dog. So populate views is a helper method, populate views, that takes in a dog, and yeah, it just sets the image view, name, breed. So all these fields, image view, name, breed, age, it sets all these views. So you give it a dog and it sets all of this. So we can just call that helper method. So once the data changes, we get the data in snapshot format, we convert it to dog format, we give it to populate views, it does it. Next, same like last time, we create a toast. Let me divide this into two sections. So toast string. Same as last time, so I'll go a little quickly. But be sure to ask questions. I'll be happy to answer those. Now let's point to the same error that we had before. So this download error dogs. R dot plurals dot download error dogs. Now we don't want to put 99. We want to put in 1. So so instead of returning this other string for 99, right, before, in main activity, if there's an error here, it should say error downloading dogs. But if you click on someone and on some dog, and if there's an error here, it should say error downloading dog, because this screen only shows one dog. So now pass in 1 as a quantity. Pass in 1 if you want here again. This is optional after this. Good. And now give it that string, toast string. So now we listen for changes. If it works, then this method is called, we extract the dog, we populate the views. If there's an error on cancel this call, and we should appropriate toast. And congratulations, you finished step 1. So now if you want to see how the app works, let me run it on our emulator. You can check it out too. And if you get any errors, then you can switch over to step 1 solution code. So you can, if you like any accident, like if you made any error, then you can switch over to solution code, so you can follow along with us. And so if you get the real-time list of dogs, everything's working. Oops, so we have an error. Let's very quickly fix it. What's the thing? Not get name on a null. So there's some small bug that's here, but the major part of it is done. So set dog name. So looks like, is any name null over here? Quick check. For lightning, yes. Name is null. Let's restart the app. So for the sake of time, I will run the solution code if it doesn't work now, because the major part of it works. So there seems to be some problem. Okay, name. So looks like there's some error in dog activity. Let's try to fix it very quickly. So something is happening here. And oops. Yep. We saved it to mdog. So just save it to mdog, because looks like mdog is being used somewhere else, and mdog is by default null. So since they're accessing mdog here somewhere below, I'm accessing it in the code, so it's giving that error. So step 1 is almost done now. We click on it, it works. So if this works, then very good, you've finished step 1. Now step 2 is edit function and delete. So currently this does nothing. If you click on save, it does nothing. So we're going to implement that now. So to save all the changes, head over to the terminal, git add dot, then git commit -m, and then in the inverted commas, write any message, like basically this doesn't matter, it's just for you. So like completed step 1. Enter. Everything is saved. All this green stuff should go away because all the changes are saved. Now go to Git. Let's download step 2 starter code. Check out as. Okay. So we're downloading the step 2 starter code on our local system. And now step 2 starter code, it basically is only one file. It is utils, Firebase utils. So there are three methods here that we have to implement. Remember I said step 1 is only reading dogs. Now step 2 is creating, so add dog, or editing, so edit dog, or deleting, delete dog. So let's do the code for that. Now, if you notice here in our slides, everything for create, update, and delete, everything is the same. We need a ref variable. We need a path, like where we want to be at in this hierarchy. Once we get that path, we do an operation on that path. So for create, we do dot set value. For update, we do dot set value, but we add a child. So instead of doing dot set value here, so it adds a new object, we do dot set value here. So it adds all these fields here, right? And then for delete, we just do dot remove value. So let's do the same here. I'll do it quickly here. So first we get the database. You can uncomment the lines out if you want to follow along. Next, we get the reference. So it's the same as before. Ref is equal to, using the database, let's do dot get reference. Now we want to add a dog. So let's go to the base dot child underscore dogs. A reference points here. So when we add something at this reference, it will be added as an object here. So now once we have this, third is create a key. So what does this line of code do? I'll let you know. Dot push dot get key. So basically this creates a unique key for us. So one of these unique identifiers, it creates it for us. Firebase creates it for us, and let's save it in this variable called key. And then finally, we have all information needed to add the dog, because this add dog, it has name, breed, and all information that's needed here. So if the key is not equal to null, so sometimes Firebase can give a null key, which happens if there's like some kind of error. So we should handle that error, I mean. So if the key is not null, everything's successful, at that reference dot child, so here then dot child. So from ref dot child, so we create a new child with that unique identifier key, right? Dot child here, we create that child here, and then next is dot set value and dog. Where's this dog coming from? Oh yeah, here. Let's create the dog. New dog. So you can add all these variables here. So let's do, will autocomplete help us out? Key, name. Yeah, it's not helping us. So for the sake of time, I'll just copy this. So basically all the variables that we need. We create a new dog, we add the dog to our database. Good. So any questions there, be sure to put it in. A quick refresher, I'll very quickly run through. We create a database, we refer to the dogs. So we refer to this level. Next, we get the new key. So we ask Firebase, hey, Firebase, give us a new identifier. A unique identifier is always needed in a database to uniquely identify that dog. So we say, hey, Firebase, I'm too lazy. You create a unique key for me. And so Firebase gives it to us. We create a dog with that unique key. Then we add, now this dog is in our local system. We add it to the Firebase database using this dot get key. Good. Next, edit dog. Very similar thing. Firebase database, we always create the instance of the database, boilerplate code this is. Next, let's create a reference. Now, something unique here. Wait, edit dog. This is technically, let's see if it works. Dot get reference. Ah yeah, we do dot child here. So we can just dot child dogs. So currently a ref variable points here. Now we want to edit a particular dog. So now from the child, from the dogs, we have to we have to bring a reference to that particular dog that we want to edit. So to do that, f dot child. So from the ref, again we're going one step below, and we are getting dog dot get id, which is this dog that was passed to us. Edit dog. So we're editing this dog dot get id dot, oops, not here, dot set value. So the dog is given to us, we get the id, we set the new fields, and then so we update the dog here on our local system. We push the changes to our Firebase using the reference dot set value. So this, I'm pretty sure now we have done 2 of these, so it seems the kind of, at least I hope you're getting the hang of it. If not, be sure to put questions in. For deleting, it's extremely easy. Again, the same thing, database, Firebase database, oops, Firebase database will get instance. Now create a reference. So database reference, ref. Now, let's point to the particular, let me write it down and I'll explain. Dot child dog dot get id. So now we're pointing to root dogs, the particular dog that we want to delete. So let's say if you want to delete this dog, you have to bring a reference to root dogs, that particular dog. So a ref points to that particular dog. Now all you have to do is ref dot remove value. So we are saying that everything that's at this reference, so if it points here, remove this whole thing, which removes it. Good. We have come till here, and now we have done, this is all 11 to-dos that we have. So now we can run the app and we can see everything in action. And looks like today also will extend a little more because this is the last session. So it will, I think we'll extend a little more time, a few more minutes. And let's go over everything in much detail and some exciting news that we'll share. So a lot of stuff planned towards the end. So hang in there. We have done our app. Let's see it let's see it work. So let's add a dog name. So in the comments, if anyone wants to shout out any random name, we'll add that later. So shout it out in the comments and Yudesh can send it to me. And for now, I'll just add a dog called Dunbar, a breed of, let's say, Afen, and I don't know the spelling, maybe correct, may not be. Age 3 years old, likes cats. This is a dog that gets along with cats and hates cats when they're grumpy. Hates grumpy cats. And yeah, it's an example. Let's just do this and save it. Now observe the database here. Oh, yeah. I have to give it. So I changed this. So this is, I'm allowing people to do true. All right, let's go back. Now our app should work. Now observe the database here. I will quickly write this down. Dunbar, breed, let's say German Shepherd, age 3 years old, likes cats, hates rats, dog that doesn't like rats. Observe here now. Instantly, this is added to this database here in real time. And if you scroll down, you see the dog appears here. So this object is modeled here in our database. Next, the image. Hey, I've added the dog, but I forgot to add the image. So click on the edit the pencil icon and head over to Chrome or to your browser and then type in your German Shepherd pictures. I usually go to Unsplash, which is an extremely good website, unsplash.com of German Shepherd, SHEPHERD. When you update data, do you want to merge the data to overwrite it? Good question. So we won't merge, we'll overwrite it. So if you notice in our code, so in our edit dog, we actually are not like we are updating all the fields in our local dog variable, and then we just do dot set value. So set value, it overwrites everything that's there before. So instead of, if the user just changed one field, we don't just change one field in our local system. We change all of the fields. And then once we have the latest dog object, we push the whole dog object and override what was there before. So that's just the approach we are using, and it's more easier because you can be certain that like you will never have like any problems. Like you are handling all the fields, so it's just like a more safe way to do it. But good question, good observation also. That hey, what are we doing? Are we overriding it or are we merging the changes? Now choose an image of your choice. Click on copy image address. Add the image URL here. Control V. Oh, I think here you have to hold it and click on paste. And now observe the database here, right? So be sure to expand. Oh, you won't be able to see it because this is on my account. We'll set it up for you too, but for now, just observe here. Once you've pasted it, once you click on save, observe this image URL field. That will change in real time. Notice here, and now the image also has changed here. And if you go back, you see the image has changed here. So everything is in real time now. So that's it. Our app is done. And now to delete, sadly, Dunbar got adopted. Let's say our farewell to Dunbar, he's gone to a happy owner. Let's remove him from our database of favorite dogs. Or we started to hate Dunbar, is eating too many of our rats. This is not good. So let's delete it from our favorite dogs database. Our favorite dogs, he's no longer our favorite. Observe this now. This should disappear. And a warning that we have implemented. Yes, observe. In real time, this is gone, and our database doesn't have it. So that's it, our app. Now, we are well over time, but it's the last session. Let's go a little over time. And let me show you how will you set it up now on your database. I'll quickly change the rules to false, so we won't. So accidentally, you won't change it on over here. Now, if you are following along, so once you reach the home page, right, head over to real-time database. So this doesn't have it here. Let me open any other project like DSC testing. Let's see. Good. So I'm just going to create a database in another project. Click on create database. So real-time database, then click on create database. Start in test mode, which is easy for you. But it doesn't allow read or writes. Start in test mode, enable, and you should get this. Right. Next, go to project overview. Be sure to add an Android app here. Now for package name. If you're following along with this project, the package name is com.myname.favoriteDogsApp final. So if you want to copy it, so don't worry about time. Yes. That's good. You just give the green light for extending time. It's a last session. It's a very surreal moment. So let's take our time and give it a good end, right, to our series. It's emotional time. I'm pretty emotional. So let's go over time and let's explain everything in detail. Now, for a package name, if you want to copy paste it, not app now, but head over to Gradle scripts. The second build.gradle, the app build.gradle, and copy the application ID. com.myname, Rowan control, and then .favoriteDogsApp. Paste it here. Leave everything as it is. Register the app. Right. Now, in a Firebase setup, we created a project. Let's do a second step. Download this file. So click on the download button and download this Google Services .json file. Let me show it in folder and Control X. So cut it. Now in our app, if you expand app, be sure to go to the project section. So instead of Android, go to project. Now this could seem a little overwhelming. Like, hey, what are all these files? I'm too confused. Don't worry, it'll be fine. Expand app, and you see this Google Services.json. This is pointing to the database that I created, which is the testing one. Now, to have our app refer to your database, be sure to delete this file. Yep. uh, or just rename it if you so. Shift F6 and just save it to something like 1, right? And now under app, click on it and click Control V. So save it. uh, Whatever it is, like add or it doesn't matter. Now you have this Google services.json. Now that's it. Now your app will not point to the database that I created for testing. It'll point to your database. So let's click on play. If you have done everything correctly, okay, so something is still missing. So let me just quickly see if I can find what's going on. This is already done for you. So in the starter code, it's done. Get ready, continue to console. So let me check real-time database. So we don't have any dogs here. It's still showing dogs. So that's a little confusing why it's doing that. So stop the whole app. So it is, if you change some files here, maybe it's causing some problem. Let's restart the whole app again. Maybe it's, no. This is very surprising. Let me see, am I forgetting something? Very quickly, very quickly. Let me just delete this file for now. So it's still referring to my database, which is, I'll just take 1 minute and quickly try to troubleshoot it and why is it happening. Hopefully it works for you. Very quickly. Have I forgot something? Have I forgot something? Source, main. So I'm just trying one step that could help. I think it's the same package name that's causing problems for us. So let me change the package name to 1, like add a 1 after it. So let me see if it works for me, and then I'll explain for all of you. Compact update packages, edit, refactor, rename. Package. All right. Okay. Let's click on sync now. And now this Google services.json file is out of date. Oops. Yeah. No matching client font for this package name. All right. Now let's create, in our DSC testing, let's create a new app with our new package name that we have. And hopefully this will work. If not, then, and let's just cross our fingers. Let's hope for the best. Same process. Register app, download the file that they have, and then delete the old file. Delete the old file. Cannot delete. Cannot delete. Okay, let's stop the whole process. Delete it now. Cannot delete. All right. So it looks like we are facing. Okay. One smart move we can do is, we have downloaded the new file. Let us just change the contents. Hopefully we can edit the file. So, all right. So you're getting to see how, troubleshooting. So this is a problem. This is the first time I think we've encountered a big problem. So copy all the contents. Let's hope we can update the file. So update the file, Control V. Okay, that worked. So now let's see if still pointing here. Uh, all right. So doesn't look like it'll work. it'll probably give the same error. It worked. Surprising. Oh, all right. So that worked. All right. So what we did was we just changed the package name. So it looks like if there are the same packages, then it was pointing to my old database. But now it will point to the new one that all of us have created together. So hopefully I've pointed your project to your database. So how do we like link our app with someone's database using that file? So be sure to register an app with your package name. Um, so if you are following along with our example, so let me show you what I did. Compact middle packages. So when you click on this, be sure to select this cog that's here and deselect compact middle packages. Right click on it and click on refactor, rename, and then click on rename package, not directory, rename package, and then rename it to something else. One also will work or anything else, something unique. Then what you do is everything will update everywhere. Then register an app. So in the home page, register an app with an Android app with your package name. Something here like this. When you click on register app, then download your .json file and paste it under the app directory. So under app directory, paste that file. If there's some error, then just change the contents of the file. If you can't delete it, change the contents by opening this file using Notepad, Control A, Control C, copy all of it and paste it here. Control A, Control V. I won't press Control V now. Control V. Good. Now let's add a new dog in our new database. It is real-time database. Let's check our rules. So it should be true, true. All right, good. Now let's see if it works. Name. Let's just do a testing dog. So doggy, and let's just do one field if it works. Good. So there you go. You have linked your own database, and so you can check the edits now. It works in real time. Hey, I learned that this is a Labrador. Labrador. Save it. It's updated here. And if you have multiple phones, it will update on everything. So for example, this is pretty cool, and I want to show you. So let me run it even on my local phone, and I'll show you with the camera. So if you can probably get the camera on the stream. So once it downloads on the phone, let's see if it works on my local device. All right, so if you can get the camera on the stream, then we can show this. So so observe all the devices now. When we make a change in our thing here, so I'll add a new dog called cheese. Observe this app here, the database here, and this device here. So all devices. Let me know if I'm not holding it properly or if it's not visible. So now when you click save, it should update everywhere. You saw that? So that's why we use Firebase. It syncs across all devices. So like if you have an organization of dog breeds, of favorite dogs, if you are logging in from your tablet or from your phone, it updates it everywhere. So yeah, I hope you found that exciting. So that's the end of our session here. We learned a lot, and now let me recap what we have done throughout the our whole series. But before that, if Madhusha is there, if I don't know if you want to share the news about the classroom, so about some news. If Madhusha is there, or if I want to share it, or we can share it. All right, so this is pretty exciting. We have like our series has come to an end, but not really. Our series has actually just begun. Well, that's because we've actually made a Google Classroom with the like all of us have collaborated and made a Google Classroom, and we'll share this link. So Madhusha and Nitesh, they are like all of us will like. So anyway, so in our classroom, we have for each week all the videos and everything in order. So now week 7 session 2 will be added today, right? Because we just did it today, and there are even some helpful like GitHub links, some instructions. So basically, you can follow along this whole series, in proper structure. Watch the videos, right? Each video that we have, and also if you have any questions, you can ask questions in the class comments. So you can comment on a particular assignment and ask questions there, and I or will answer those questions. So you can get help from me and from anyone else. Also, you can, once you have completed, just yes. So here, like on this admin page, it will show the like here in class comments, it will show the comments that you make for each assignment. It will show it to us. So if you add a comment, then I can reply to that comment and answer a question. And I'll be pretty active on this. So anytime you're stuck on anything, just be sure to put it in here and I will comment on it. And also share if you have found something unique, or share your progress. If you have completed something and you're proud of it, share it out to the whole classroom. So once you share it here, we can answer the questions or we can react to your things. And I'll be happy to see, where you go, with what we have here. Like if you build something cool, want to share it, some link or anything, little more in depth. So there are 4 sections here. I think for students, there just be maybe these 2, maybe, or maybe one, the first 3. So we have like each documents, especially for the setup, like in detail, like everything on setting up Android Studio, running our first app, setting up the emulator, creating our first Hello World app, right? Uh, it's quite nostalgic to remember how we began quite long ago. The series started in the beginning of July. Now we're in the end of August. So it's pretty exciting, 7 weeks. So you can refer first to the video. Watch the video like in detail, and you can see, because I've done it live. Everything is live, so you can get perfect help from there. Next, you can go through these documents, to these assignments, right, and see like some text instructions, which is there mainly for the first few weeks, because those are the important weeks, right, where you need to build concepts. So we have even included a lot of text instructions. Now, once you've finished each assignment, be sure to click the mark as done. So on your students section, is there a view a student? I shouldn't show all the, yeah. So you can check all of that there. So basically on your view a student, you might see a mark as done. Be sure to select that when you have completed an assignment. So once you've completed an assignment, that way we know that you have completed it, and so we can help people who haven't, right? So it helps us to know comments, so we can answer those questions. This is continuous for all the 8 sessions. So week 7 is divided into 2. So all the 8 sessions, video, text. It even has all the GitHub links, so you can directly go to GitHub, clone the repository on your local system. Right, this was the Encycler View app, list view app that we've done. All the different branches are here, so a lot of in detail, like everything is gone in detail. So all of us are pretty excited to see how this goes. This is like a pretty bold step, I would say, that we're doing. So take as much advantage of this as possible, and we'll be happy to help all of you out. So a quick recap on what we've done in the series. We started with the Hello World app, week 1. Week 2, we built our favorite celebrity app and a currency converter app. So our favorite celebrity app, you click on it, it shows you a toast, right? Our Hello World app, our currency converter app, it takes in US dollars and converts it to any currency that you give here. So this was in week 2. Yeah, it's pretty exciting to see where we have come, like how far we have gone from week 2, right? Then in week 3, we did a random jokes app. So we introduce some skills there. So you click on see jokes, right? It shows you all the jokes in English, and it also shows you the jokes in German. So we learned how to localize our app using strings.xml. Then we did our roll a dice app. Roll a dice app where we clicked on default and it showed us like default dices here. I mean default dice or die. Yeah, I'm not good with the plurals of it. Friendly, it shows you different die here. This was mainly to show you how to do multi-screen layouts, sorry, multi-screen apps. So you uh, it's an X and 0 using LSU versus Alabama. I'm from LSU, go Tigers, and Alabama is the biggest rival. So I thought we'll create a game using LSU versus Alabama as a tic-tac-toe game. This one, you see. So we learned this. Next, we did our favorite dogs app using list view. So yeah, we can scroll through the list view. Yep, the list view app. Then favorite dogs. Then we did the same thing using recycler view, which is the more recent one. Yep, assignment instructions here. The more recent one using recycler view. So here's a typo which confused me now. I have to continue to recycler view basically. The same app using recycler view, which is the latest one, latest form of lists. Weather app yesterday. This was a really good app. Um, you download live weather from the internet. So you type in any place, any name of the place, you get that here, right? You get the name of the place. Finally today, so I'll head over to the GitHub for today. This is the one. Our favorite dogs app, which is hooked up to a Firebase backend. So it always syncs across all devices. So this is what we have done in 7 weeks and 8 sessions. Throughout the 8 sessions, we have built 11 apps so far. And actually, we also have one app that we haven't really covered, but we haven't covered in a video, but you can check it out too, which will include in the classroom, which is the celebrity. Let me check if it's this one. Nope. Let me check 4. Go to the homepage and check 4. It's something with the name celebrity, which 4. Yeah, favorite movies app. Yeah. So this app we did not cover in. This was the challenge app that will include in the classroom. So you can see how to implement this. All code is written here, and you can ask questions in the classroom comments. So this is what we've done. We have built 12 apps actually, 12 apps, 11 or 12, not sure. We've come a long way. It's pretty exciting, and we hope you have benefited from this series in any way, right? We hope you take the skills here to develop something that's unique to you, and we're excited with what's transpired so far. It's quite sad to see this series come to a close, but stay tuned. Like this is not the end of our journey. There are going to be more series that we're going to do, maybe here, like in many places. So stay tuned, and we hope you benefit from this. We wish you all the best. Let's keep in touch. Unless there's something else that we want to share, if you just can let us know. But that's the end.
It's not
Y- Yes.
Hey, Rohan.
Hey.
This is amazing, man. Thank you so much for your time. I know you put a lot of work into this. We're super excited to get the classroom out there for everybody. And there's going to be a surprise in a few weeks. We're still working on that part. And any other series that you're working on, Rohan, that you want to talk about?
Yes. So a Flutter. So we're going to do a Flutter series. So I'm thinking of calling it. So it's again in the early construction stages. Either we'll do like a beginner series, like covering Flutter all the way, just like how we did for Android, or so this is like I'm just going to put it out there. We're thinking of collaborating with some other developer student club, and they will do like the beginner series that we have done here, And we will focus on speed coding, which is something that we have done in brief on our YouTube channel. You can check it out. DSE LSU. So this was when I was new to Flutter. So I just did these apps that I was um, like this, recording it for the people in our club. But now we'll do it very professionally and build like really complex apps in Flutter that are professional and intermediate level. So they are not beginner level; they are intermediate level. So either we'll do a series that we do everything from the beginner level, or we'll collaborate with someone else and have them like do the beginner level, and we'll focus on the intermediate to advanced level. So again, stay tuned for that. More news on that at some point.
I think the most exciting part of this now is going to be is that when we bring everybody to the classroom, we see what the pace they're going to learn, and then we can see those collaborations happening between the students. And obviously, you're going to be there, so we're going to send you the invitation to Slack, as well as the classrooms. Welcome to share that with other students that you think you'd find this interesting, and then we'll see what else we can add other layers to this. So it's going to be a comprehensive one place that anybody can go to learn both Android and Flutter. So there are other students we're working with to bring different tech to all of you as well. So super excited. And once again, yeah, Rohan, awesome job.
No, thank you. Like you gave me a chance here. So we did this locally in our DSC, but you brought it to a global stage, and you have a lot of connections. You can like get this because we can help people, but we didn't have the outreach. So you gave it to us. So thank you for getting us on the global stage. You can share it with many people, and hopefully it helps people out.
I think there's a lot more people who need to know this. So we still the reaching out globally is still going to be in the works. So I know it's a Friday evening. I know you all maybe have plans for the weekend. So that being said, have a great weekend, and you will hear from us soon. We're trying to get Rohan to interview some of the Googlers from the Android team, talking about what their future is going to look like. So it'll be a very comprehensive, I guess, end to a series from a student's perspective, going from learning how to code to what the future would look like, not just the career space, what the tech is, what kind of tech to expect going forward, and what are the methodology that we can cover in the future series. So stay tuned to all that. And that being said, Rohan, thank you so much. Let me see that I can make sure your name tag is there so people can follow you.
Oh yeah. Please do. So the name tag. So everywhere it's just my name Rohan Kadkol or Rohan _Kadkol.
For some reason it's not showing, but anyways, we'll send it out on the when we'll do a quick edit. We'll add it to our stream and make it available. That being said, thank you everybody for tuning in. This has been super excited. Any feedback you have, please leave a comment. Let us know. So we need to learn from you as well. Good evening, and have a great weekend. Talk to you all later.
Thank you everyone. Bye bye.